Hey Cupcakes, I'm Mark Lipinski and I'm in my Pickle Road studios here in Long Valley, New Jersey, ready to do another video book review. Now the book that I decided to review this time is called Polka Dot Christmas, Festive Quilts with Fun Finishing Edges. It's written by Harvey and Sandy Boobar. It is published by All American Crafts, the same people who do The Quilter and Mark Lipinski's Fabric Trends, and cost $21.95. It's a softbound book and there are 96 pages. Now what I really like about this book is that all the quilts in it are pretty contemporary for a Christmas quilt book. They're not like Grandma's Christmas quilts. Now, there's nothing wrong with Grandma's Christmas quilts, but I like something a little more 2010, you know what I'm saying? I like the fact that everything is done with polka dots or has kind of a polka dot theme, which is classic. But even more importantly, every quilt and every project in this book has a different finishing edge technique, which means that even if you don't like Christmas quilts or projects, even if you don't like the quilts in this book, it's worth buying the book just to learn all these great edge techniques. And I am telling you, I'm in love with that part of this book. Now, take a look at some of these. I want to show them to you. Some of the things you're going to learn how to do is a scalloped finishing edge. You're going to learn a ruffled binding insert, which is putting a ruffle between your binding and your quilt. This great polka dot finishing edge. A flat binding insert finishing edge, which is putting a little flange between your binding and your quilt. Several different kinds of prairie points. This one is a non-traditional type of prairie point, and the other one is using two different kinds of prairie points. You'll learn this and many, many other kind of finishing edges by using this book. Now, their directions are very clear, very concise, very colorful, with lots and lots of photos. Look, if an idiot like me can do these special edges by just reading these instructions, then you can certainly do it too. Now, let me show you some of these quilts. Take a look at this one. This quilt is called Dots and Curves. It's just a modified log cabin, but it has the scalloped edge, and it's great for a confident beginner. I really get a kick out of this Christmas tree wall hanging. It's lopsided, it's a little haphazard, but what I love about it is the finishing edge. The authors teach you how to take embroidery floss and make this fringy edge. And that, to me, is the focal point of this quilt. Of course, I also love the bright colored buttons that are used as embellishments. This quilt is called Ornament Dance. I love the finished ruffled edging. There's a ruffle that sits between your binding and your quilt. The other thing is, these ornaments are made just a few circles onto the fabric, and then there's a little bow that's attached for a three-dimensional look. This is a polka dot tree skirt. Now, it's just a 9-patch quilt with red and green and polka dot sashing, but the polka dot finishing edge is really what makes this outstanding. Imagine doing this in, say, jewel tones with a different colored jewel tone circle around that edge. This quilt is from the cover. It's called Woven Wreaths, and what I love about this quilt, besides the graphic nature of it, is adding the candy stripe binding. You just join the red and the green binding strips with the diagonal seams, alternating colors, and you could do this on any quilt, and it would be terrific, actually, to start using a lot of these techniques on some of the quilts that you design and do for an added punch to a very typical quilt. Who wouldn't love these waiting for Santa stockings? There are 3 different stockings here, 3 different techniques, one with rickrack, one with like a chevron and using rickrack to separate the patchwork, and then one with fur as a cuff. This poinsettia hopscotch quilt is a great looking quilt, but this picture doesn't know justice. It's fairly traditional, it's very Christmassy, and the flat binding insert edge is how this is finished, and that's just the little flange between your quilt and your binding. I really like these little totes. They were really simple enough for a beginner to make, yet you could use them not only as a gift to give away, but also as a wrapping for some of your Christmas gifts. And the authors give several different types and several different sizes of totes to make. And then, of course, once you get the hang of it, you can improvise to make your own totes. This is the Merry Christmas table runner. I'm not so crazy about the table runners, as you know, but I like this yo-yo effect in the border, and I also like that this particular table runner is done with non-traditional reds, greens, and whites. This is called Wonky Northern Lights, and what I like about it is that there's a lot of activity. The finishing edges are kind of a wonky prairie point that really kind of captures the whole mood of the quilt. Also, you just cut out some stars, fuse them on, and applique them. So it's a really nice alternative to the traditional red and green. This is called Holiday Maze, and again, the finishing edges are prairie points that are two different sizes for a really unique end to a quilt. Last but not least is this ornament wreath. There's not a great commitment in time, there's not a great commitment in fabric, yet you still learn how to do the scalloped edges. That's it, cupcakes. See you soon. To order your copy of Polka Dot Christmas, visit my store at www.marklipinski.com.